Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And welcome, folks, to the first episode of the Islamic Personal Finance podcast with Ethis. My name is Afik, and I am the Chief Finance Ninja at Modern Muslim Finance. I'm a chartered financial consultant and an independent financial advisor. I've been doing this for almost 10 years now, alhamdulillah, and I've impacted lots and lots and lots of families and individuals. I've been blessed to be given this opportunity to create this podcast just for you with Ethis, alhamdulillah. And so, what exactly is Islamic personal finance? Now, most of us understand that the term personal finance means, money management. And for some of us, we think about our budgeting and putting aside money and scrimping and saving. Folks, I want to be here to assure you Islamic personal finance is exactly like personal finance, aligned with Islamic values and principles. And here's the best part. I'm going to show you how to be able to manage your money, manage your relationship with money, having the right attitude with money so that you have long-term financial success. Now, personal finance isn't about trying to find that next discount or trying to save a few cents off your groceries. Of course not. Personal finance is really having that right relationship with your money, having the right attitudes and mindsets, and of course, taking advantage of whatever skills and talents you may have to maximize your financial success. But what exactly is Islamic personal finance? Think of it this way. As Muslims, we have certain obligations and certain restrictions. Think of it this way. We also have things like zakat that we have to think about. We pay our zakat every year. You've got to complete your calendar year. We call it HALAL. And based off a certain amount, which in this case is nisab. So more on that at a later episode. But we also have certain restrictions in how we can handle our money. Like, how many of you know that we are not supposed to take on loans unnecessarily? We are supposed to reduce our debt burden, inshallah. And of course, we can't partake in what we call riba or usury or interest. And so those are some examples of certain obligations we have as Muslims, zakat for one. And another one is a restriction, things like riba. Other restrictions include, for example, when we are investing, we can't be investing in forbidden or impermissible industries, like alcohol and gambling and so on. And so inshallah today we'll be giving you a brief overview about what Islamic personal finance is, and in the later episodes you'll be learning a lot more about all the different aspects of Islamic personal finance. And so, folks, over the past decade of practicing, I've refined my methodology to something I call the 5 I's of Islamic finance. And we start off with income. Income is really all about your cash flow, how you're earning money, how you're setting it aside for goals, whether it's short-term, medium-term, long-term goals, how you're paying your taxes, how you're setting aside money for zakat, for charity even, and inshallah for your longer-term financial success. That's income. Now, the second I we usually talk about is called insurance. Now, for some of us, insurance is such a taboo word. So, you can't buy insurance. Or even worse, some people say, oh, insurance is a scam. I'll be the first one to tell you, folks, insurance isn't a scam. And in fact, the original concept of insurance is actually an Islamic concept. Go and look out for the word takaful and do some research on takaful. But so for you and for me, when it comes to insurance, we're talking about protection. We need to understand that, life is risky and there are lots of unforeseen circumstances that can happen, from illnesses to accidents and, of course, na'udzubillah, death. And so when it comes to your insurance, you need to buy just the right amount. Don't buy too much because you'll be wasting money. But don't buy too little either, because when something bad does happen, you won't have enough. And that's the second I, insurance. The third I, investments, is one of my favorites, because I came from banking. And during my banking days, we had to do a lot of instruments that were exotic, some that were very downright dangerous, and some that were really profitable. And so one of the most famous quotes by Warren Buffett was this: either you learn to make money while you sleep, or you will forever work for money. And so when it comes to your investments, you want to be able to grow your money in a way that's, well, number one, halal. You've got to make sure it's halal. And of course, profitable. Why? Because that leads me to my next I, which is independence. Now, the fourth I in Islamic finance is independence. We hear a lot of talk from people about being financially free. Yeah, drive your Lamborghini, have your beachfront house, live a luxurious lifestyle. Yeah, we've been sold financial freedom. But I want to be here to tell you this. We can be financially independent. And now, what does independence mean? Imagine this. If every month you get a steady stream of income into your bank account that covers your living expenses, covers, the cost of your food, your groceries, your utilities, enough for us to have a good, comfortable life, then that removes worry. I'm no longer worried that, I gotta work hard, pay the bills, it's so tough. That is what I call financial independence, when your income streams cover your expenses with very little effort. Some people call it passive income. You are then financially independent. And so that leads me next to the fifth I of Islamic finance, which is inheritance. Inheritance, we are Muslims, so we have been given a set of rules in how we give away our money after we pass on. So those rules are, for example, like fara'id. There's a certain set of rules that define who gets what in what proportion. And so the fifth I of Islamic finance is inheritance. Give away what you have to who you want to, when you want to, in the way you want to. And so, folks, those are the 5 I's of Islamic personal finance: income, insurance, investments, independence, and inheritance. In Islam, inshallah. Typically, the first question I always hear is this: why bother? Why should I bother learning about personal finance, much less Islamic finance? Well, of course, apart from the religious obligations that we have, there are certain things that we need to understand when it comes to money. A good friend of mine once said this: life isn't about money, but money is all about life. Think of it this way: money permeates every single aspect of our lives. If you want to buy food, obviously you need money. You want to buy a house, obviously you need money. You want to pay for anything, you need money. And money is all about this life here in the dunya. And we want to be successful in the dunya as well as the akhirah, inshallah. Yes? And so when you've got a great relationship with your money, everything becomes easier. It's just so much better, so much smoother when you've got a handle on your finances. How many of you have met people who always say, I've never had enough money, I'm borrowing money just to cover some expenses, I'm borrowing money to pay for another loan, and they're always struggling and complaining about money. Have you met people like that? Well, I've met plenty, to be absolutely frank with all of you. How about this? Would you like a life that allows you to enjoy all the things that you love? If you want to buy a latte, or you want to have a fantastic meal with your friends, or you just want to be able to treat your family to a nice trip. Having a good relationship and a good handle on your personal finances gives you all this ability to enjoy life and do the things that you really, really want to do. You'll never ever feel that you're wanting, you'll never feel that there's lack of resources or lack of scarcity and lack of money. And I promise you, once you master your personal Islamic finance, you'll always have money to do the things that you love. How many of you want that? And from an Islamic perspective, let me share a story. Years ago, when I was early in my career and I was helping a high-end client of mine calculate his zakat, and I was doing his calculations, and the final amount came up to be $54,000. It was a huge amount of zakat. And being a certified amil, I can collect zakat. I went to him and said, Mr. So-and-so, hey, your zakat amount is $54,000. And I was like, okay. He just writes a check, gives it to me, and I'm like, wow, that's a large amount of money. How many of you think that $54,000 is a lot of money? Yeah. And he looks at me, he gives me this look, and he says, I think you seem surprised. I'm like, yeah, 54K, I don't even earn that much. And he was saying, you're missing the point. How much is that $54,000 in terms of zakat? And I told him, hey, it's 2.5%. Are you trying to test me? And I was telling, and he looked at me and he said, you're missing the point. Can you imagine how many people I can impact with $54,000? We know that zakat is being paid to the 8 asnafs, right? The 8 needy categories of people. And he was saying, imagine the number of people I can impact with that 54,000. That was point number 1. And then he told me this point number 2. I think you're missing the fact that that's only 2.5%. Where's the other 97.5% of my assets? And my mind went kaboom, because I was looking literally at all his investment statements, his bank account statements, everything. I was doing all the calculations, and I realized $54,000 was only 2.5%. And so can you imagine how big his wealth was? And so he then told me this: would you rather be wealthy and pay more zakat, or would you rather pay less? And so folks, when it comes to your Islamic personal finance, how many of you want to pay more zakat? After all, in Islam, it has been stated, charity will never make you poor. So if you want to pay more zakat, say it with me. Alhamdulillah, I get to pay zakat. But what does mastering your Islamic finance actually look like? It's not just staring endlessly at spreadsheets, calculating numbers, tracking expenses, going stressed. Oh my God, I hate numbers. How many of you love numbers? Awesome. And how many of you are just like me? I've been practicing this for 10 years and frankly, I still hate my numbers. So what exactly is mastering Islamic personal finance? It's not tracking your numbers every single day and looking at spreadsheets 8 hours a day. No, it's not. It's really being able to take advantage of your skills and your talents and your attitude and your personality to maximize this success. And once you understand your relationship with money, you can then set up systems and processes to take advantage of all your strengths and talents. Imagine this: having a system that just automates your personal finances, your saving automatically, your investing automatically. Every month you've got enough to say, hey, I want to buy certain luxuries that I want, the pleasures in life. I want to take out my friends for dinner, for a date. I want to date my wife and let's go out together and never worry. Well, that to me is the essence of personal finance. For example, have you ever heard the term pay yourself first? I always hear that from a lot of the financial gurus out there, but what does that actually mean? To use myself as a personal example, I have set up an automatic deduction from my bank account that goes into my investments. What does this mean? I don't have to stress out about, oh, did I invest this month? Did I have to take up some money and start putting money aside? That removes that mental burden from my mind. And that gives me peace of mind because at the back of my mind, I know that my investments are going on automatically. I'm investing consistently. And so folks, investments are all about the strategy that you use, not which stock you pick. And so I know for a fact that I'll be investing and it's automatic, it's fuss-free, I'm not worried about it. And I don't have to spend that extra brain power thinking, did I do this, did I do that? So folks, use your skills and talents to really understand how your personal finances work. Then from there, set up processes so that you don't have to worry about it. But here's the thing. What does success actually mean? For some people, success means I have $1 million in my bank account. How many of you want $1 million in your bank account? I know I would. Yeah? Or for some other folks, success can mean a beachfront property or Lamborghini that I'm driving around. That could be it. There's nothing wrong with that. We want to enjoy the finer things in life. But success can mean very different things to very different people. To you, it might mean something else. To me, it might mean something else. It's really easy to just put a number to, yep, $1 million and I'm successful. I have met people who worked all their lives cutting corners, scrimping and saving, eating the cheapest possible foods and not going on trips, not spending anything on themselves. And at the end of the day, they're like, yeah, my bank account is $1 million. And then when I ask them, are you happy? And they're like, no, I'm not. I wish I had gone on that trip 10 years ago. I wish I had spent a little bit more money on the things that I really love, things I enjoy eating, things that I like. I wish I had spent more time with my family. There was literally a chap I met who had more than $2 million in his bank account. He had never invested a single thing in his life. He was 70 years old. He had a wife and a couple of children. They're all adults now. And he told me this: I did not live a good life. My bank account is full, yes, but I didn't enjoy my life. I didn't get to do what I wanted to do. All I was focused on was just growing that money. And now that I'm in my 70s, I feel like it's a little bit too late. And so that's a pretty sad story. What is he doing now? Well, he bought himself a big car, and he's going on trips and wanting to enjoy himself. And he tells me this: yeah, it's fun, but I'm 70. Do I really want to be driving around in a sports car? And whenever I go on trips, I tend to fall asleep. So it's like, that's a funny story, but it is absolutely true. And so, folks, success can mean very different things for all of us. For me personally, what is success? Success means I get to spend time, spending with my family, buying the little gadgets and things that I love, taking my friends out for dinner, and being able to say, hey, I want to spend my time meaningfully. I want to work for causes that I really, really enjoy. Doing like podcasts like this, impacting all of you. It's really something that I enjoy, absolutely. And so imagine this: having a steady stream of income every month coming in from my investments. That's what I want. A steady stream of income from my investments that comes in and funds my living expenses. I never have to worry about paying for food. Never have to worry about, keeping the lights on. Taking my kids out for a quick date together. Just me and my 2 kids, we'll go out together. Teaching classes. In fact, if you find us on our website, you'll see that we do conduct lots of classes here and there. Alhamdulillah. And that to me is the definition of success for me. Am I there yet? No. Am I working towards it? Yes, absolutely. And so, folks, I want you all to think about this. What does success mean to you? Because once you have this idea that, hey, I'm going to be successful, what does that mean? Is that a stream of income, $3,000, $4,000 a month? Or is that a Lamborghini and a beachfront property? Nothing wrong with that. Define what success actually means for you. Because once you have that idea and that goal in mind, you can then take steps to master your Islamic personal finance and achieve your financial goals. Folks, this is Afiq from Modern Muslim Finance, collaborating with, alhamdulillah, Ethis. We're looking forward to seeing you at our next episode. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.